All right, we are live. If you clap more, you're just going to throw off the editing of the audio. You're going to be
I usually
there
don't
so
actually need to use the
confused.
claps. I'm usually pretty much fine.
Just starting it exactly when the file starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually pretty good with it. I've had to use it once or twice, though. Usually the bigger
Sometimes I'll
problem is
just
like that 4 hours recorded at the end of the audio accidentally.
sometimes I'll just listen to whoever's got the worst recording and then compare it with the YouTube version, and sometimes I just grab YouTube.
Yeah. Usually it's Ilkins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
8
Yeah.
gigabyte audio
Ours are both
files.
pretty close. I'd say our mics are pretty close.
I don't know if it comes across, but like there's like a buzzing in the background of mine that I've been trying to figure out. I don't know if it's the cord, the
Probably
microphone, or what.
yeah, it's probably like a power issue. Like
Maybe
mine is like that if I move it, check like
because
tangled wires or
well, you got the mini version of my microphone, right? For
yeah. I don't use that though. I only use that when I'm on the
yeah,
go. Yeah.
but
Or no, I got the regular one. I
oh,
end
you
up
got the
dividing
regular.
the
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, you got the new. Is it the plus or something you got?
No, I end up just getting the regular one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the microphone hour. No, that's just a joke, everyone. Just being silly. All right. Hello there, and welcome to Tapcaf Transmissions, the only Star Wars podcast which has fired Baylan as a temporary co-host. I'm Corey, joined once again by the return of Justin. How are you doing, Justin? Back from administrative leave.
Yeah, we had to fire him because he's too damn handsome.
Well, it's hard to set up connection to another galaxy.
Yeah, I'm not letting Kelsey watch this show because I don't grow a good beard, so it's already like a bit of a sore spot for me. So I'm not letting her see that guy.
I don't know, give
Just
it maybe another 40 years and you'll be able to pull it off.
yeah, okay.
I mean, that still puts you, what, 10, 15 years older than Ray Stevenson was when this was
Yeah, he was
filmed,
only
but
what, like his mid to late 50s, was it?
yeah, I think he was only 56 or something when he died.
Too soon, too soon.
Yeah, and then for some reason I thought we were early 20s, or we're not.
No, not even close.
Oh. Well, tonight's episode is, of course, about Ahsoka Episode 4. We're also probably going to talk a little bit about Episode 3, because I did a solo review of that. Justin wasn't available last week to talk about such a mid-episode, as he put it in our DMs. And I didn't upload the solo one, because I didn't think it was
Oh, okay.
Tapcaf label worthy.
Yeah, I of the four, episode 3 was probably my least favorite. I still liked it though. I did think the action scenes were a little goofy, but like it is what it is.
I think they've all
Yeah,
been a
no,
little goofy, but nothing too egregious for any of them.
yeah, no, nothing too. Yeah, I mean, this one we had like Rock'em Sock'em Robots canonized, which I loved. I thought that fight scene was great. But yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Like I honestly, episode 3, it kind of one of the weaknesses of this format of TV show is where it is one big movie is you have these transition episodes where you can tell this is existing to get our heroes in the right place for the next
Yeah.
the next episode, whereas like a traditional like is it serialized show, there would be something going on at least. And I was saying on Twitter, I think Star Wars still needs, arguably Andor is there a little bit, but I would like a show that has, weekly open and close like the Mandos used to, but maybe also, like X-Files style. Like, yeah, there's the big mystery, but then there's also Monster of the Week. That's what I want from the Star
Yeah.
Wars show eventually.
I do think episodes 1 and 2 had a bit of a better balance than episode 3 with that, where they did have a kind of their own self-contained elements of the story, and it felt like you were getting a complete story within the episode, even if it was part of the larger plot. Like, whereas the episode 3 was just kind of, this
It
is
was like
all
two
for
scenes.
something else.
Episode 3 was 2 scenes. It was Boris Kvalia and the space stuff. Like, I'm like, did I forget something? I'm like scrolling through. I guess there was the training bit at the beginning, which is important, but maybe a bit extended. And then it's training bit, New Republic bit, and then kind of the extended fight scene, which I did like.
Yeah, the standing on the wing to deflect the blast. I don't know what else Ahsoka's going to do in that
Yeah, that
situation,
was goofy.
but it just seems like it's not going to be an effective strategy in most situations.
No, like just shoot somewhere else probably, or like
Yeah,
shoot in the
literally
sword.
anywhere else. Instead, Shin decided, I'm going to shoot at you, Ahsoka, and yeah.
I really did like I like the space whale moment as well. We got the space
Mhm.
whales, that was cool. I suspect we will be seeing them again sooner rather than later, although I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was a fine episode. Again, part of the weakness of the style of TV, but a fine episode overall.
Well, the Purgle seem to be going out of their way to remind everyone they're here, and yet Baylan still seems to just immediately forget about them. Like, he was watching them in the first episode. They came
Which
and
I did not notice
yeah,
at first.
it's really just the descriptive audio calling out that he's looking up at a dark shape that gives it away. But
That seems kind of creepy in hindsight, wasn't it? Like it's almost like Lovecraftian.
yeah,
Like the sky is moving. It was very Lovecraftian in a way.
yeah, and they're floating around the map as well, and they call out like, "Oh, this is a Purgle migration thing." But now
Mhm.
Baylan thinks if he just destroys the map, then no one's going to be able to follow them.
That's true, yeah.
Which
Although
no.
presumably there was um some serious effort into tracking that Purgle migration, and now they're going to need to get Grogu, who has that
No,
empathetic connection with creatures.
if the Purgle can take Ezra and Thrawn there, then the Purgle can take the Ghost there. It's going to be
Yes.
harder to get back without taking the Eye of
But don't
Sion,
you
but
remember Star Wars Rebels? The Purgle don't fuck with anybody but Ezra.
yeah, but like Sabine and Ahsoka fuck with Ezra, so like they're 2 degrees of fucking Kevin Bacon, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. 2 degrees of Free Willy.
That's not allowed on a kids show.
No. But yeah, overall, fine episode. Episode 4. Let's rank the episodes. I said episode 4 was my favorite. I love that episode more than you, I think. For me, probably 4. Did I like 1 or
We're
2
gonna have
more?
the exact same ranking, I think. But
Okay. I think mine will be. I can't remember. Just trying to think of what happened. Probably 4, 1, 2, 3.
oh, okay, we're not gonna have the exact same. For me, it's 4-2-1-3 because I think like 1 was good, but it was still more
Actually, yeah,
introducing
no,
to
I like
everyone.
the
And
Corellia scene a lot in
yeah,
2. So yeah, 4, 2, 1, 3. Yeah.
yeah, like
I just
every part of 1 was still good. It was just more the here's what we've been up to kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd say Ahsoka of the live action shows, it hasn't like the Mando had. I'm trying to remember which of the Mando episodes early on was kind of slow.
People didn't really like the one that
Was it chapter
introduced Cara
3?
Dune at first
Yeah,
either,
that one was
and like the
iffy.
passenger in season
I liked
2.
Sanctuary. The worst one in Mando season 1 was probably there were 2. The Gunslinger was probably my least favorite
Yeah,
one, which is the one with
with
where
Fennec.
yeah, and obviously it ended up being good because Fennec's a good character and Boba's in there. Uh, and then I didn't like the Prisoner much, but I know some people did. I actually quite liked Sanctuary, but it's a bit derivative for sure.
Yeah, it's just the canonization of Star Wars shrimp fishing it was too much. Just can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, Andor was pretty solid for the entire first season.
Yeah.
Um,
The
I'm
first
trying
that
to.
like it did require that 3 episode initial
Yes,
block to get you into it,
absolutely.
but I think
But there
like we
were slow
both
moments.
really enjoyed episode 4 here, but I think you probably have it higher in the pantheon of Star Wars
Oh yeah, I
media than
loved
I
it.
do.
Like for me, what I loved was not the story. Well, I don't want to say it's not, but why I loved it was not because of the story, which I thought was still great, or the characters or anything like that. I just thought the way it was filmed, it was paced. Like my heart was going the whole episode. There was something like just I was really worried when I watched the teaser they posted for this episode, because it looked really dark, and I was like, oh, this is good. It reminded me a bit of the first episode with Ahsoka in the Mando season 2, which I thought was kind of poorly filmed. I know what they were going for, what Dave was going for, but it didn't really work for me. I was like, we're getting more of that. And then right off the bat, all the dialogue flowed really well. There was a brief bit of humor at the beginning, and then like there was just a real sense of weight to everything, which I felt a lot of the TV shows haven't really managed. Like the fights felt desperate. Like in my review, the way I described it is, it felt like the bad guys were trying to light a bomb, and the good guys were trying to stamp on the what's it called? The
Views?
yeah, the fuse. Um, and I fully believed it. I thought the atmosphere was great. Like the way the sound was used, not only Kevin Kiner's music or the Kiner brothers' music, but also like as things get more intense, you start to hear thunder rolling in. Overall, just everything visually as well worked super well for me. I loved it. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I agree with basically everything. Just the start of the dialogue in the episode was a little bit choppier for me, I guess. But
That's
like,
fine.
I still really enjoyed it. I just don't know if it's quite in my list of like absolute best Star Wars
Hmm.
episode slash content yet. But
Yeah,
I
I think I definitely like the lightsaber fight more than you two. Like that Baylan Ahsoka lightsaber fight, I love that. That was probably my favorite.
I thought it was really good, but I think there's just a few moments where the execution on the effects wasn't quite as good as
Okay.
like I think the Vader and Kenobi fights were like visually better, rather than just being that Vader and Kenobi are better duelists than Baylan
Mm-hmm.
and Ahsoka. Like I thought it just part of it may just
Mm-hmm.
be that I could see it better, so it's a bit easier to pick up on when stuff looks a little weird, like when he throws Ahsoka over the dais and she
Oh
just kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
floats and then drops, and it's kind of
yeah,
strange.
yeah.
But I did like all the different styles that everyone was using, uh, like the katana style combat that
Mm,
Ahsoka was going for there, and like Baylan really felt like it almost felt like he was using a crossguard saber without it being a crossguard
totally. Yeah,
saber, where he was like a knight with a claymore or something. So it's definitely really
yeah,
good. But
yeah. My favorite part is definitely he throws that rock and then he turns around and has like a backhand, almost like a backhand tennis swerve, tennis serve. Like the move makes no sense, but it's just like it's nice. Obviously, like other fighters in the the recent fights have had their own style. Kylo Ren has his own style. Rey has hers. But I just thought the choreography, like the way that Ahsoka and Baylan's fighting style played off each other, was very interesting. Where like especially at the end, where Baylan is just wailing away at her, he just seems so physically imposing. Then there's that one scene where he's again just pushing her back, and she puts her foot up on the pillar to
mhm.
stabilize herself. I like just the little moments like that were really good. Zach actually did a really great lightsaber breakdown of the first duel on Corellia, between Marok and Ahsoka, and that actually made me really appreciate kind of all the choreography that has gone into the show so far, I
Mhm.
guess. Like I was fully expecting, because like when you rewatch that first fight on Corellia in episode 2, like you can see the whole time Marok is basically he can't take her on his own. He only attacks when the droid attacks. So I kind of knew when they were fighting in this episode he probably wasn't long for the world.
Did Ahsoka use both of her lightsabers in the fight with Merrick and the droid?
She uses them both after he yeah, she uses them both for the whole
Okay.
fight. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if we are going to see in like the inevitable Baylan versus Ahsoka rematch if she's going to use both, or if that's more of a crowd control situation for her, where she only prefers that if she's going against multiple enemies. But
Well, it's kind of interesting because, and this is something Zach did a really good job of pointing out, that fight used a lot of her moves from when she was fighting Darth Vader in Twilight of the Apprentice, where he has those big, heavy slashes, and she pulls out both of her sabers and kind of holds them like a cross and holds his heavy strikes like that. So I was kind of expecting her to do something similar against Mara or against Balin. I was expecting that she was not using her second lightsaber so she could destroy the thing with it when he was distracted, but she kind of just grabbed it.
yeah, that was probably not the best move for her. I don't know
No.
if we should just keep talking about that, or if we should maybe go back to the start of the episode, because the main thing I think with the fight is, do you think if not for her grabbing that and burning her hand, and the distraction of thinking that Shin had killed Sabine, that Ahsoka could have won that, or is do you think she's kind of outclassed by Baylan right now?
Um, I don't think she's outclassed. Like I think she held her own pretty well. Like Balin towards the end, he was making mistakes. He was kind of missing wildly. Um, you
He
know,
does have the easier job of Ahsoka needs to get to the one thing to destroy it, and Baylan just
right,
has to stop that. So he's definitely at an advantage there. But like, it really threw her off when Shin comes back
right.
after leaving Sabine,
Yes.
and I think that goes back to them not listening to Hu Yang when he says "stay together," and then they
Yeah.
immediately do not that.
Yeah, I really liked that moment for a lot. I guess do you want to talk about Sabine's decision? Because that was probably one of my favorite parts, and I know it was maybe somewhat controversial, because it's obviously a mistake
The
for
decision of saying that Ahsoka should chase down Baylan.
no, sorry, for Sabine to give Balin the
Okay,
map, like not to destroy the map.
maybe we should talk about that at the end with Anakin, and
Okay,
maybe jump back a
sure.
little bit
Okay,
uh
we can start from the
to
beginning
the start.
if you want.
So maybe we should talk about Hera first and get any of that
Sure. Yeah,
anything related to her covered, because I think that's probably the most concise thing.
some more nice fleet shots to start the episode off with.
I was legitimately expecting Akbar in some capacity here to like cover for her going. I don't know if like there's still a chance that he might show up,
Yeah,
but I thought like if there was anything that was going to cooperate with Hera on her being able to disobey what she's been told to do, then they're on home one. We're hearing about this general meeting that's coming up, but
yeah.
no fish yet at least.
Well, there were a couple in the admirals or like in the captain, like in that spot above the meeting room where he stood in the movie. There were some Mon Calamari there, so I kind of wonder whether one of those could be him in episode 1, I guess.
Does he have
But
home one at this point? Like, is he just has he given it away? Is he on Galactic Voyager now?
he might be. Yeah, he might have got the upgrade. Maybe he's got a Starhawk.
Hmm.
I'd take a Starhawk over home 1 probably.
But think of the sentimental value.
Yeah.
Just if we have home one here, then it
Mhm.
just feels like Akbar's Akbar might be on it. But
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember what he's on in the battle at the Battle of Jakku. I think he's on home 1 at the Battle of Jakku.
well,
He might even have a Super Star Destroyer at this point. Who knows?
they have a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
He can have the Eclipse.
Sure. Well, the Eclipse is off in the unknown regions right now.
Not that Eclipse, the other one.
Oh, the one at Kuat?
The one with the super laser.
Oh, okay. Because that's the name. So yeah, I know you didn't read the Aftermath
Yeah,
books, but that
it's
was
just an executor now, but
yeah, and they don't say, but the Aftermath books didn't say. They just say they call it, and I quote, a Super Star Destroyer Dreadnought because anyway. But yeah,
yeah.
they do say it's like dagger shaped. So I guess yeah.
One thing that I am kind of concerned about as well, if I'm just gonna be a nerd and worry about cameos over the content of the story, is that this seems like if Zeb's gonna be hooking up with them, unless she's
Yeah.
flying back to get them, like we know that Zeb has this connection with Carson, so they're probably coming from the same place at some point, and he's not here now, so
Well, here's my thought. We don't know when this is taking place. Like this could be taking place during Mando season 2.
true.
So maybe Zeb seeks out Carson Teva after this.
Okay. So Hera goes, and then Zeb gets brought by Carson for when they return, rather than Zeb being on the mission to Perineum.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. But I, I do think it would have been really nice to have Zeb there. The reason that I've seen people saying is he's too expensive to animate. I don't really buy that. Maybe it's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you only need one shot of him being in the X-wing, maybe a conversation with Hera, and then you don't really need to show him for much of it.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
expensive to do, but I doubt they made him for Mandalorian to not use him
Oh
to
yeah, for
some
sure.
extent in Ahsoka.
No,
But
totally. Yeah. But I mean, it could be that season 2 will be more of the getting the full gang back together.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought
if
season
there's a
one's
season 2.
yeah, I suspect there will be, but it could go right to the movie, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like they're gonna need more time to.
It kind of depends on what's all set up. But speaking of things being set up with Hera, it feels like if they're bringing Jacen, it's to have him actually do something useful rather than just to show that Hera's maybe an irresponsible mother dragging him into fight some Dark Jedi. So we've got
Right.
I've got a bad feeling about this. He's talked about how he wants to be trained as a Jedi. My
I
thought was
actually
that
like that. Yeah.
Sabine would be a potential candidate to train him in some forcey ways if she manages to get up on her force powers. Because I saw a lot of like, oh well, Luke needs to train Kanan's son, which I don't think that necessarily tracks at
I don't
all.
think Luke's training anybody right now.
Yeah. Well, like Ezra,
Grogu,
I
I
think makes
guess,
more
but
sense than Luke, and Sabine, I think makes the most sense. But
I'd like Ezra. That'd be really cool.
or both of them together
Yeah, as lovers.
slash sibling.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I actually quite liked his. I thought he did a really good job with "I've Got a Bad Feeling, Mom." Like I like the whole episode had a very dark tone to me, and
Hmm.
I really liked the ending. They got the massive hyperdrive. It rips a hole through space. Like I liked how there's still like visible remnants of like where the ship jumped. Kind of it's like the cracked space open. They're gone so far away, and
Yeah.
bad things are about to start.
And if they hadn't had a big hole in the middle of the ship, they would have holdo maneuvered the starfighters. We were
Yep,
this close to greatness.
yep, yep. We were. Uh, well, or I guess that's more of a Darth Vader. Well, I guess Darth Vader did it on the way in, didn't he? In Rogue
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Um,
That was more of a bad parking job.
yeah, or a really good parking job, I guess. What else to say about or like the anything else on the New Republic stuff? The fleets looked good. I like the hammerheads. Please do something.
Yeah, just it. If we're getting all
Please
these
do
fleet
something.
shots, I'm hoping that it seems like maybe there'd be an assault on Eye of Sion slash Chimera on the way back as well.
Mm.
But I guess maybe we can go to that next. Is do you think the purpose for building a hyperspace ring is to bring Chimera back specifically, or is it something else that they're going to be looking to bring back? Because otherwise, just build a big shuttle with a bunch of hyperdrives.
Yeah, I mean, I that wasn't my plan, or that wasn't my idea until I saw
Excuse
someone
me? Are
mention
you?
it. Yeah, it wasn't my plan. No, that wasn't. I didn't think about that, but yeah, it seems pretty clear to me that that's what's going to happen. They're gonna grab
So
Thrawn,
yeah, like
because yeah,
it.
otherwise, why not just strap them all together and
Yeah,
save yourself some construction time?
because it's the thing with Chimera itself is like, are you going through all that extra effort and budget to build this giant hyperspace ring to bring back a Star Destroyer that was last we saw on fire and half destroyed by whales? Or like, is there something on Chimera that's important for this? It was like the only thing I was able to think of with that was the Lethal Temple entrance, but Ezra brought that down before getting them taken away by the whales. So unless they were potentially able to rebuild that, I'm not sure what the
Did they not have something from the Mortis?
well, that was the temple entrance because like the
Oh yeah,
painting
okay.
was the how you
Yeah.
access the temple entrance,
Right,
turning into the
right,
world
right.
between
Yeah,
worlds thing.
yeah,
Because that
yeah.
would be another way that Ahsoka, if she is actually in the world between worlds, could show up in
Mhm.
Peridia, is if she just takes the exit to the Lethal
Fucking
Temple. But
wall hack to Peridia.
yeah, that's like a bridge to Terabithia, right?
Yeah, less sad. Um,
Does that mean Sabine dies?
who would die in that situation? I think it means Ezra dies. I don't know.
Is it the guy that dies? I thought the girl dies on the
No, it's the girl, but it's
whoever
like
goes
the
doing the seeking.
well, I just thought it was like the off the because the boy's more the main character from what I remember. So I
I
figured
think
it'd be
it's
kind of
mostly
like,
from his point of view because she drowns.
but doesn't she drown at the end?
Yeah, but you can't have a point of view chapter of her drowning. That would be a bit too much. Spoilers for anyone's fourth grade English classes, by the way. So,
Sad ass movie.
oh, you
God
watched the
damn,
movie?
springing that shit on us.
We had to read the
Oh
book.
yeah, no, I watched the movie back in the day. It had the guy from Hunger Games.
Was
Uh,
that Gail's actress
no,
or
it had
actor?
Josh Hutchins, Josh Hutcherson. Hutcherson. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, like, is that temple entrance a thing you can actually repair? Like, is there something else on Chimera? Is it like
Yeah.
sentimental value for Thrawn? Has he just been working on
Well,
repairing it? Because Star Destroyer's got to be presented as rare at this point.
I mean, I don't think it's for the strength of a single Star Destroyer. Like I think that'd be a bit goofy. Rather he's been cooking over in God knows where for a long time, for what, 9 years? So he wants to take some stuff back, probably.
Yeah, like you can even see the hookups too. It's not just like
Yes.
a funny
Yeah.
shape for a ship. So
Yeah. Some theorized they might be capturing a whale, which I thought was a good theory as well. But I'm glad they didn't go that direction.
yeah, that would be. I don't think that's the most reliable way to get back. I think that's more of a fail-safe plan for Hera to get there. But
Yeah, I think the idea was like, oh, the whale does the navigating and then the engines cook them.
like, how many of Chimera's crew were surviving as well? Like,
I
has
mean,
this been like a little colony that Ezra and Thrawn have been setting up with some gunners or something, or is it just the two of them?
it's hard to say if it's like an outbound flight situation
Yeah,
where they crash and there's only some survivors left, or like maybe everyone's still alive. Because like the Chimera wasn't really that damaged.
it was the
Um,
whole superstructure was on fire, which isn't
yeah,
great.
I'm also kind of wondering because like in the show in Rebels in the finale, the rest of the Seventh Fleet gets taken too, but I'm guessing they got dropped off along the way somewhere based on Pelion being in the Mando
Yeah,
penultimate episode.
yeah, and like there has to be people if this is before or after that point in Mando, then there are people who are kind of aware that Thrawn is working on coming back and they can communicate with him, unless Pellion's just entirely acting on faith that he would come back. But like if Pellion's in contact with Elsbeth, then
Yeah.
he's got vague ideas about what Thrawn might want via what Morgan is claiming is coming from Thrawn, but you can't exactly hook him up on a call
Yeah.
to Brendel Hux.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little unsure about like the timeline of the season 3 finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess the duels come next. First and foremost, the best duel of the episode was Hu Yang versus the HK droid.
I actually really enjoyed that. Like it makes sense. Hu Yang, he's been practicing with Jedi for a long time. He's got some moves, not enough to defeat an assassin droid, but enough to make it interesting. I thought was a good little action sequence. I love how he pulled the other two arms out, the training arms, and just started smacking them with them.
Always keep that collection of lightsabers. You got to have two on you at all times. And then he could have won, but
Does he have
not
actual
prepared.
lightsabers, or just like those we lightsaber testing things?
Well, there's the whole wall of lightsabers
Yeah, that's
on the
true.
shuttle, which I
Yeah,
assume have to be Hu Yang's. I talked about it a bit
yeah,
last week, but like unless Ahsoka is just grievousing her way around through Inquisitors or something.
yeah. Yeah, you should be holding on to those because he's no Jedi, but he's practiced for thousands of years, so he could probably do some damage. I did really like how he purposefully knocked the power out, and then was like, ugh, pain in the ass. You did it, dog.
uh, but he tells them to stick together. They listen at first, and they're really sarcastic about how, of course, they're going to listen. But we get to the fight where they each take on Merrick and Shin, which makes sense to split up that way. You're still within
Yep.
sight distance.
Tree distance. Yep.
Ahsoka's going to wipe the floor with Merrick. Sabine
Yep.
just has to not die to Shin long enough to keep things interesting. And Merrick, he gets points for playing, I guess. So I never, we haven't really talked about this much, but I never felt like Merrick was going to turn out to have his reveal be that he was like Ezra or Thrawn, or not Thrawn, Ezra or like a clone of Luke
Star
or
Killer.
Star Killer.
Yeah.
Like I felt like he was kind of there to be a red shirt and just die, which he kind of did. But I do think like his death gives a bit of interesting backstory implications of like, did he just die in a fun new Darksider way where they turn into evil dust, or was he some
No, I
kind of
don't think so.
reanimated creation of Morgan's?
Yeah, it reminds me of when Savage died, kind of,
Hmm.
and because he was sort of reanimated too, right?
Yeah.
Um, so
It
I
did look
think
a
it's
lot like
probably
the Night Sister stuff in Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor as well.
yeah. So that's my guess. Yeah, I'm guessing he was kind of like a zombie. Um, yeah.
I couldn't
But
tell if
we
Shin's
also got that weird
reaction.
one from the Tales of the Jedi as well, but that seemed to be more like a kind of a smoke monster. Like, I don't think that
I
was the same thing.
I rewatched it and he doesn't turn into smoke. He
Hmm.
just kind of deflates.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I think he was just kind of like a weird alien, like where this was
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah. Uh but like I think even though he didn't turn out to be anyone important, I was kind of
I
annoyed
mean,
by it
he could
where
still technically be like he could have
yes.
been a reanimated. Yeah.
But I think the bigger thing will be if this is something that she can do with him, are we going to see her do it again with maybe something a bit more evil later on?
Right. That's kind of the main question. If she can do it, why is there only one of them running around?
Yeah. Like
Um,
even if it's like a Dungeons and Dragons things where you have to maintain concentration on the spell, now he's gone, you can do it again and maybe do it better.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, at some point we'll find out. I think. I don't think they're going to leave it like that,
Yeah.
especially where
Cuz
like the Night Sister stuff has been pretty important so far.
yeah, especially if we get any kind of attempt at a redemption story with Shin and Baylan. They got to fight something else. It can't just be Morgan. She's good. She's not for Jedi good.
Agreed. Agreed. So yeah, that was a good fight. Very Twin Sons, or what was was it called Twin Sons, or what
With
was it called?
Maul
Oh no,
and
no, it was yeah, with the Maul and Kenobi. It was
that was Twin Sons with Maul and Kenobi.
okay. Yeah, so it was very similar to that, and like classic samurai
Yeah.
one cut, one go. Whoever gets it wins.
And no helicopter blades will help you in this one.
No, no, yeah.
It did. I couldn't tell if Shin's reaction at that was, "Oh fuck, I'm about to get my ass beaten," or if it was, "I had some kind of personal connection with Merrick. He wasn't just a an animated dust cloud, and you've killed my friend now."
Yeah, to me it was more panic. I didn't like. I don't know. She's always kind of flying a bit loose. Like the way she kind of looks back and forth. Definitely felt like some panic there more than anything, but I'm not sure. I didn't. I guess I didn't really consider the other option. She's a freak, though.
Yeah, like I'd be concerned if I was her and I thought like I'm about to fight Sabine and Ahsoka at the same time because like Ahsoka is clearly better than her right now. Like she's
Fighting
definitely still
Sabine and Ahsoka at the same time is just fighting Ahsoka because like Sabine ain't doing anything.
she's still struggling to just outright win against Sabine in this one. She was able to easily beat her
Oh
before,
yeah.
but it's enough of a distraction that like
So it's like Sabine's an 8, Shin's an 11, and then like Ahsoka and Baylan are like 300.
yeah. But this is where Sabine makes her mistake and says go. And it's good for Sabine's self-confidence because she does manage to kind of hold her own and then fakes her out with the rocket.
I
But
mean, in the end, it was kind of fine. Like it kind of worked out, right?
yeah, but only because Shin decided to smoke bomb and run away
It was
to help
pocket sand.
Baylan.
Pocket sand. Yeah. So I like that. I like that part. You know, my big thing is she's not quite a Jedi. She's still learning. I like one thing I really liked about this episode is that we learned the value of receiving Jedi teachings, even if you don't have the potential to be a full Jedi. And that's kind of a theme that, we saw in episode 8, where Luke is like, hey, listen, just because we practice these things doesn't mean the Jedi have full dominion on being good or using the light side of the Force or anything like that, or just the Force itself. Here it's like, listen, Sabine, she probably doesn't ever have the potential to be a true Jedi, but that lesson from Ahsoka would have been well learned, because she just fucked up majorly by really undoing Ezra's sacrifice. Like, Ezra yeeted himself out of the galaxy on purpose to get rid of Thrawn.
Hmm.
That was his choice, and he made it willingly. And she kind of just undid that.
But like, I kind of understand where she's coming from, if not agreeing with her ultimate decisions, because Ezra didn't just do that. He also said, "Hey, Sabine, you are specifically responsible for taking me back now," which is a lot to put on someone. And having Ahsoka just say, like, you know what, we're just gonna have to leave him there, it's not an easy thing to hear.
No, especially where your whole family's dead now, apparently.
That seemed a bit like Hera and Jacen erasure, but you know.
Yeah, Hera was. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but to me, Sabine and Rebels always did have closer relationships with Ezra and Kanan versus the other two.
Yeah. Is this our first official, like, full confirmation that her family ate it as well?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware.
Pour
I
one
didn't
out
even
for
consider it. I mean, obviously, in hindsight, yeah, of course they did, but
I was never clear on exactly when the Night of a Thousand Tears would have happened relative to that, and if, like, we would have seen something from her. But I guess, like, Rebels ends before that, so
yeah.
Well, sucks to be them, I guess.
Yep. Sucks to be them. They shouldn't have got classed.
So I have been kind of wondering if that means that part of Sabine's apprenticeship under Ahsoka was during the rest of the Galactic Civil War rather than being after Endor.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered that. I mean, we don't really know how long Ahsoka was kind of MIA for, right?
Yeah.
Like, after the Twilight of the Apprentice stuff, I'm assuming she was kind of stuck for a while wherever she was. Maybe we'll learn more about that next week.
It seems like, though, when Ezra pulls her out, she ends up immediately back in play. So she never, like, even with
she
the
doesn't
duel,
do anything else in Rebels, does she?
Not really, but she shows up at the end, I guess. But you can, like, see her going down the stairs after the Vader duel. So I don't know that there's, like, a discrete amount of time in the real world where she had not been in the galaxy. So, like, maybe she just went off and started doing some of this stuff immediately after that. Like, her focus was on that. Maybe she was involved with some of the Alliance stuff. We still don't know when exactly she met Luke, but
yeah, that's true.
there is a 10-year gap here of who knows how long any of this was for, because it seems like it's been a couple years since they've had their falling out.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure. It's a good question, and I'm just reading her Wookiee, and we don't really know.
That's disgusting.
The Rosario version, not the 14-year-old version. But no, we don't know kind of what she did. So, kind of a little backstory for Dave Filoni to make a sequel about at some point.
I was really expecting a lot of flashbacks and kind of going back and forth between, like, old Ahsoka Padawanship and new.
Yeah, I definitely thought we would have had an Anakin flashback before now. I thought for sure there was, like, a scene in episode 3 where she's on the ship, and I thought I was about to move into a flashback, but
it's just a recut of some scenes from episode 3 to actually show, like, just around the corner, Ahsoka was there the whole time with Anakin and Obi-Wan on Invisible Hand.
Man, I'm in for it. That'd be kind of confusing because she's supposed to be on Mandalore at that time, but
she can be in both places at once.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that leads us. Ahsoka runs off, leaves Sabine to get pocket sanded, and we have the fight with Baylan, which we've talked about a lot of the mechanics of it there. But Baylan does seem legitimately not enthused about the idea that he has to fight Ahsoka. Not in an, oh, look, he's actually a great guy kind of way, but he's not, like, relishing this the same way that a lot of Darksiders tend to. And they really do highlight the whole reddish orange lightsaber rather than just red. So is it, like, unintentionally bled Kyber, not fully bled Kyber? There's still something there.
Yeah, he almost seems like he's like annoyed. He's like you're a fucking idiot. Like of course it comes to this, like
Mhm.
which I maybe Ahsoka needs to kind of think about for 2 seconds because like she hasn't stopped to ask him like what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, orange lightsaber, maybe that doesn't work, but like maybe ask the guy what's up. Like his apprentice has a Jedi Padawan blade. He knows Anakin. Like Anakin knew him. Maybe, have a brief conversation before going
Yeah.
down the full let's kill each other path. Like he goads her too, like with a little bit with the Anakin conversation, and she kind of snaps a couple times in this fight, and she probably needs to learn from that a bit.
Well, he's basically taunting her. He's not talking about Anakin as if he respects that he was this destructive force, and
No.
his disrespect towards Ahsoka is because he sees her the same way.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a dark sider, obviously, but the and he's got this like focus on who cares what the cost of my vision is as long as I'm working for what I see as this like the greater good. Because they've dropped a lot of Ascendancy trilogy book titles. Got the greater good. We almost got lesser evil, but it's still like this. This is the only way. Like he's not justified in what he's doing or what his goals seem to be, as far as we know.
Yeah.
But he's still not really looking to fight Ahsoka, other than thinking like she's gonna do this anyways, so may as well.
Yeah, you're right that he's got no taste for it. We've seen that a few times. It's interesting, but he still, he doesn't hold back during the fight. That's for sure. Like he's trying to kill her. His fighting style was fun because he has all this power, but like he also had a few really like she slashes at him and he does like a quick back out of the way. It was a very very interesting fighting style. Like they're definitely going to go at it again. I would say. I'm obviously everyone is interested to see how his story ends with Ray Stevenson being dead. It sucks. You almost hope that they kill the character because it would just be such a disappointment to have his story not finished and never finished.
Yeah, or even to recast him.
Right. Yeah.
If they had to, though, George Clooney,
No, he's not big enough.
no one's big enough.
Put like a beard on Bautista and like just hope for the best.
Or like Clancy Brown or whatever his name is that plays Ryder.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be interesting.
Like his talking about Anakin was definitely not. Very few got to see what he became in a respectful way. It was definitely look at this butcher over here.
Yeah, he's
So,
like, yeah, exactly.
and I do think that's going to inform like spending so much time in the duel between the two of them, setting up like Anakin is this destructive force and Ahsoka's following in his footsteps, and having like Ahsoka talking about her torturous methods in the first episode. Like it seems like it's really going to be framing what we're going to see coming from Anakin and Ahsoka next week. Like whatever their conversation / duel is going to kind of be centered around that.
So you think we're all in kind of world between worlds territory next episode?
At least for Ahsoka's part, because like you
Yeah.
mentioned it being kind of spiritual journey week for Ahsoka, and I think we're going to stick with that for at least one episode. Because it could just as easily be like Ahsoka is split off from everyone for the next few episodes. Her plot is entirely Spirit Quest until she comes back in the finale and just Gandalfs them through Helm's Deep. But
Yeah.
I kind of hope it's not that. I hope she's like more involved in everyone else's rescue attempt rather than like exiting through the world between worlds door into Chimera in the last episode. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, that's 3 episodes of Hayden Christensen. So
yeah, I don't suspect they'll be doing that. I think she'll be back sooner rather than later, and she'll kind of have to join the crew. But I don't know. Ahsoka's been wishy washy before when it comes to like, and it leaves the Rebels crew without their force sensitive queen. So
yeah. Well, one of the few
was
scenes we still
interesting in
have
Rebels.
left. Sorry, go ahead.
In Rebels, Ahsoka leaving I think helps the show because she's just she's a lot more experience than Kanan or Ezra.
Yeah.
And I think the show is a lot better when she's not in it.
Yeah. Like Kanan was never really presented as just a particularly good Jedi, just a dude who's doing his
No,
best.
he's just doing his best. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But we do have one of the few scenes that we do still have from the trailers that we haven't seen yet is Hera going to the dais, the rock formation, whatever it is. So
And that
that's
little pistol
probably
out.
her finding Ahsoka, like washed up on the shore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's 9 seconds of trailer footage left that we haven't seen. That's it.
it's just Thrawn in that scene with Hera, right?
Yes. Actually, let me check. There's someone on Star Wars leaks who always updates the remaining shots. So there's wow, that's loud. So there's 2 shots of Thrawn because there's the face and then there's the back.
Yeah.
There's a shot of 3 of those New Republic transports coming in, which I'm guessing may not actually happen. Because that poster they released with Hayden Christensen on it, it had that shot of the 3 transports. So I'm guessing that may have just been like an alternate for the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one of the Ghost and Hera ship flying through what looks like the clouds of Cetos. There's one of Hera saying what's she saying? Can't tell. Then yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Other than
So
the one of Hera with Chopper on.
yeah, that's probably her finding Ahsoka and taking her on board. She might be passed out still for an episode while she does her spirit journey, but like, is she even actually in the world between worlds, or is this more of a mental, the cave situation?
I don't know, because like last time it was because Anakin grabbed, or because Ezra grabbed her. I don't know. I wonder if I suspect we'll see the bird next episode though. Yeah, I don't know how she would have gotten there. Like Anakin, I don't think could have done it. You don't really let the dead interact with the living, so not sure.
Yeah, like it. Even just what Anakin is kind of unclear. Like, is he force ghosting? Is this some sort of place where you can come as a force ghost, just beyond shadows?
Is it fake?
Yeah.
It could be fake. I don't think it is. I wish they hadn't de-aged him though. I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah, like we've already, like, one of the first post-death Anakin things we see is Return of the Jedi, and that's already Sebastian Shaw that got changed into Anakin. He can be whatever age he wants. He can just be Hayden Christensen at this point.
I think he's meant to be. Yeah, that's true. But he's definitely supposed to be like episode 3 Anakin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they probably walked him off the set of Kenobi, put him in a new wig, and then
Yeah. It's just like Kenobi iffy production. So like, but even Anakin, he looked pretty good in that. Like, yeah, he looked a little older, but like actors, like it's not real life. Like, I don't know.
yeah. I'm usually like, I kind of would prefer recasting over what they've done with Luke in Ahsoka, or rather in Mando, and Book of Boba Fett, because I just feel like having a new actor that you establish as Luke for that kind of stuff, maybe they'll want to put that off as long as possible so they can get someone that isn't going to age out in the next 10 years before they use him for something.
Yeah.
But like, I think the like complete face swap that they've done for him puts it more into Uncanny Valley and like dead acting, whereas with Anakin here, it's more of just like a Instagram filter where you'll still get the emoting a bit better, and it's really just kind of smoothing out some wrinkles. It doesn't look fantastic, but whatever. And I do like having the prequel actors being able to take part in a thing where they're starting to be appreciated now properly after the 10 years of just absolute garbage treatment and hiding from the world a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, longer than that, sadly.
Yeah.
Man, Revenge of the Sith came out, what, 17 years ago now? That's insane.
Yeah.
and they've been getting a tough time since before then. That was the one people kind of liked.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I one thing I noticed is, and I'm looking at the shot of Hera from the one shot we haven't seen of her yet. I think they've maybe fixed her contacts halfway through production, because I noticed in episode 4 they weren't as grating.
Maybe. Like my thing with it has been it looks fine in the episodes when she's moving, but I only ever really thought it was off-putting when I saw like still frames of her that are head on. So I was never as bothered by it as some people seem to be.
Mm.
But
I just think she needs to be older. Like, I know canonically she's probably only mid-30s. It's just she could be a bit older, I think.
yeah, I think every character in all media should be made to be a bit older because I don't like watching stuff and realizing that I'm like 10 years older than some of the principals as like adults. So
Yeah, like how old was Kanan when he died?
he was 32, I think.
Yeah, 32.
Which I really don't like that because it means he's like 27, 28 in the start of Rebels. Like, oh, look at this adult. No,
Yeah.
I'm older than him.
Oh, my favorite one is, how old is Gordon Freeman? He's got that full goatee. He's like I'm pretty sure he's like 28 or something. It's like
Don't like
Gordon
it.
Freeman was a nuclear physicist. Oh, he's 27 in Half-Life 1.
Yeah, like Han is the older one of the trio, and he's like what 20, 28 as well. New Hope.
I thought he was 35 in A New Hope. That could be wrong.
Oh, because Luke and Leia are.
Yeah.
Star Wars wouldn't have a creepy relationship, Justin.
No. Yeah, so he's 32.
Ugh. Okay.
We talked about this during Princess and the Scoundrel.
Yeah, but I still don't like it, so I change it.
I don't like it either.
All
I don't
right.
like it either.
Anything else we wanna hit on here?
Excited for episode 5, which is going to be in theaters in America.
Oh, right, that is true. I guess one last thing: Anakin and Ahsoka fight or talk. Or, I mean, fight would probably also include talk. Are we gonna see them clash in sabers?
I read some spoilers, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's also another thing. I hate when people are like engaging in speculation and like who cares how off it is, and there'll be always someone who comes in and is like, well, actually, I read the spoilers in this house. Like, no, go fuck yourself. I don't.
Okay, that I don't like that, but what I like even less is when,
or they pretend they haven't read the spoilers and
Yes,
they say it
'cause
anyways as their speculation.
yeah, there's one person in particular who I know you don't quite like, who we've talked about before. Who you've had a few little, never mind. But
to tell me off stream, I'm not sure who you're talking.
Yeah, he does that all the time. Where like I know, like, listen, if I've read spoilers for things and I don't speculate. So
like I put out a video of like, oh, what could Merrick mean? Or it wasn't even like I think Merrick's going to turn into this other character.
There were no spoilers for that.
I thought it was like, I didn't think it was going to turn out to be anyone major, and I was more like, oh, what's his background? Because believe it or not, characters can still have interesting backstories if their backstory isn't it's Ezra or something. And I got people coming in saying like, oh, well, according to the leaks, it's this thing. It's like, okay, first of all, I don't believe your leaks, but also shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So like, there's still a lot that's unknown, but like the Mark thing, I had no idea. Like that wasn't leaked. Yeah, I don't know. I've only really read what happens next episode, and only on a very, very high level. So
it's like the spoiler that I was unintentionally exposed to was that like Ezra or Merrick is Ezra, and I thought that was bullshit when I was unintentionally exposed to it. So I don't.
Yeah, I think I was there for that one.
Well, that's gonna do it for me.
That's all I got too.
We are going to be playing some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which you very bravely came out and said the movie was something you enjoyed more than even Spider-Verse 2.
Excellent movie. Phenomenal. You saw it, right?
I haven't actually.
Oh, you should. It's so good.
I would like to, but I was
it's
in.
Out on DVD, it's out on digital now.
I was in Alberta when I think it came out that day, and I just didn't even know there was a movie coming out. So,
Mr. Beast is in it.
oh no.
He got called a scab because he was like, "Hey, I'm in the movie." He's like, "No, I had to say that by contract."
All right, well, we're going to go do that over on youtube.com/x2 as well as twitch.tv/Corey Loses. We'll probably be back next week to talk about some more live Ahsoka, or some more Ahsoka. We'll be live. Ahsoka won't be live. But until then,
Ahsoka dies next episode. You heard it here from Corey.
well, she kind of died this episode. I can't do that
No
two
one
episodes in a
dies
row.
from falling in water in real life, or in real life happens all the time in movies.
Justin's a drowning denier.
Happened to a friend of mine when I was a kid. I think he just moved towns.
R/conspiracy.